Hi and welcome to my video. I often get asked as a psychologist, why can't I say no to things? What is it about me that just takes on tasks I don't want to do? And I feel as though I'm getting absolutely swamped and I just can't say no. Anyone asks me something, I say yes. I just feel awful. And one of the reasons is most people who say yes to things they don't want to do, or what we call kind of people pleasers, and they probably adopt a more passive attitude because of the fear of the dreaded C word, conflict. They want to avoid conflict at all costs. And if you do have a more passive mindset, you will find that this is part of your personality. You just can't bear it. The thought of any kind of conflict, of getting into it with anyone, triggers your threat system, and you'll find your anxiety system will send hormones carousing around the body, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, and you will just feel awful. You will absolutely feel that dread and fear, and all you want to do is to avoid it. Because remember, anxiety's job is to get you to avoid, because it doesn't want you doing things which aren't good for you, which are going to trigger your threat system. It wants you nice and safe and out of there. So if you think about it, when you say yes to something you don't want to do, you have that momentary kind of release of anxiety because you've avoided the conflict. You've said yes, you've taken it on. So you haven't got to say no. And maybe you feel that the other person maybe then become combative towards you. So you say yes, anxiety is reduced. You feel relief, feels good in the moment. So there's a positive short-term consequences. However, the long-term negative consequences for you can be then quite catastrophic because you're taking on more than you can possibly cope with. And if you keep doing this and you keep saying yes to things, you probably find you'll start building up resentment and anger towards other people because they keep asking you. And then you may be incredibly self-critical about yourself, beating yourself up, saying, oh, why did I do that? Why can't I just say no? Or you may find that you adopt what we call the passive no, which is that you say yes to something, but you just don't do it, or you don't turn up. And that again can have catastrophic effects on your relationships, both in work and out of work. So if you say yes to things you don't want to do, the chances are you have, as I said, this passive mindset. So what can we do about it? Well, what I would always suggest my clients do when they come to me with this problem is to first of all start thinking about all the things recently that you have said yes to that in retrospect you didn't actually want to do. So you can make a list of these things, just write them all down and go back as far as you can, at least 10 if you can, because this kind of gives you a nice broad range of things which you've said yes to, and some really, easy things, but some quite difficult things as well. So you've got a broad range to actually start dealing with. Because what happens when you say yes to something is you will have that feeling in your body. So think about what it was you said yes to that you'd rather have said no to, or that you just didn't want to do. And think about, well, what was going on in my body? Why was I feeling it? Because you will have been feeling some physiological feelings. Otherwise, you would have been able to say no. But there's a reason you can't say no, because again, you've got these physiological feelings going on, which are connected to maybe beliefs you have about what it means if you say no to something. You may believe that if I say no to things, people won't like me. They'll think I'm being awkward. I'll lose my job, or my boss won't promote me, or I won't get a salary increase because I think I'm being awkward. So there can be many, many reasons why we say yes to things we don't want to do. We may have been brought up thinking, well, it's polite to say yes to things. It's nice to help people. We should put others' needs above our own. But actually, that isn't helpful for us in the long term. So if you can, make a list of these 10 things, think about what was going on in your body, and think about what thoughts were going through your mind and what maybe beliefs you hold about saying no, because this way you can start to tackle them. Because just because you think something doesn't mean that's actually true, doesn't mean it's not, but it doesn't mean it's true. So think about, where's the evidence that my belief about this, or my thoughts that people won't like me if I say no, are actually true, and where's the evidence against it? And then you can kind of weigh those two things up. And then you can start making a list of things you want to say no to, or would like to say no to, and start with the easiest, I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult. Start with something on a 1 or 2, because you want to go just out of your comfort zone, a toe or two outside of it. You don't want to go full blown, like right to the most difficult thing, because otherwise your threat system will be going and you may just want to avoid it. And so you're not learning that actually you can start saying no to things in increments and it will have a very positive effect on you. And the more you do it, the more you're going to learn that you can actually do this and the world doesn't end. It's not catastrophic. You're not going to lose your job. Obviously, the caveat is you don't keep saying no to everything your boss is asking you to do because you want to practice this. But if you're swamped and you really don't want to take on a new task, come up with a workable compromise. Explain to your boss, oh, I've got all of this stuff. If I do this, what do you suggest I, leave for a while? So that you're actually handling and managing your own workload. You're not just taking on stuff because you're afraid to say no. Because remember, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify your no. If you're unable to do something, you just give them a polite no. I'm sorry, I'm unable to do that. No, I can't do that. And you don't have to explain your reasons why, unless, of course, it's your boss, and then you would come up with that workable compromise. But someone asking you to do something, they have a right to ask, but you have a human right to say no to that question. Because I think about it like distant elephants. If you see elephants in the distance, a whole herd of them, even though they're massive, when you get close to them in the distance, they're very, very small. So if you take on a task, say for 3 weeks' time, it may be a very distant elephant. So it's somewhere way, way out in the savannah, right over there. You can't see them very well. They're tiny, tiny dots. But as those elephants start coming towards you, and the day that you're supposed to do this thing or deliver this thing actually, comes closer, it becomes huge. The elephants become bigger and bigger and bigger the closer and closer they get, and that can feel unbelievably overwhelming. So I would always say, whenever you're saying yes to something, which is in the future, ask yourself, is that a distant elephant? Is that going to be overwhelming when the time to do it arrives? So that's what I suggest. If you are a people pleaser and someone who says yes to everything, start thinking about the things you want to say no to. Start thinking about what happens in your body and what thoughts you're having when you even think about saying no, and actually start thinking of some small things you can start practicing with and to say no to them. So thank you for listening. You can go onto my website, www.transformyourmindset.co.uk, and I've got some information, some resources there. I've got a free course coming soon, and under the courses page, you'll see I've got a whole list of all the things which are going to be in that course, and I would invite you to subscribe when that course is available. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good day, everyone.